Hi, my name is Belema, and I'm excited to be sharing my injury to victory story. I have been having knee pain, like chronic knee pain, as far back as 2018. I turned to YouTube and other resources to see what I could do. And over time, like I stopped kind of feeling it, but it was always secretly there. And I just kind of went about my day, put a knee brace on and just, kept things going. And I think over the years, it just gradually started to show up, especially as I got older, right? I wasn't the same age as I was then. And I'm more active in the gym, more aware about how to strength train properly and so many things. And so when you're trying to do the right thing, yet your body is not in the right place, you'll end up kind of aggravating that a little bit more, which was then what I experienced. And it was absolute hell. And I took the initial steps to basically reach out to some physicians. I started with chiropractors, which early on I found were not effective. With dealing with the root issue, I would just kind of go, they'd be like, oh, we'll do an adjustment. And then I found myself in a cycle of paying for like a monthly subscription that really was just like touch and go fix ups. And yeah, I went to see a couple of doctors. I got scans done, and they're like, your knee is perfectly healthy. Swim a little bit more, do something else, diversify. But I never, ever had anyone actually tell me what the cause of the pain was, which was really frustrating for me and kind of led me to resent even wanting to go to the doctor in the first place. So at the beginning of my journey with injury to victory, I had a crippling fear of lifting at all again. It had been so many months and I was so terrified. And I would even vocalize to my specialist, like, I don't know if I could do the weight you're asking me to do. I don't want anything to pop. And just like being triggered by sounds that I had heard in the past, I was just very, very apprehensive. And through the guidance and over the months, I started to see that I was growing in certain things. And while I still had a few difficulties, I think through staying the course now, I think back to a year ago last summer, where I literally would have to like sit out of certain things or have to go home early because I'm like, I live in Toronto. It's a walkable city. Everyone walks everywhere. It's the peak of summer. That's one of the number one things that you love to do. And I couldn't even do that without feeling like I was a burden to the rest of my group. I couldn't, go on runs. Literally couldn't even like run 10 feet, couldn't run 10 feet. And now I have found myself literally not being afraid of the leg press anymore and pushing four plates in total, so two on both sides, which once upon a time I was like, I can't even push one, I'm scared. Has to be like 35. I have found that I've been able to squat. I literally had not been able to squat for, I'm going to say, at least a year. And only coming into this year, I was able to start squatting again. I've been able to do front forward lunges. I always, literally, as far back as 2018, from the first time, I would only do backwards lunges because it felt it was safer for my knee. Like I didn't trust my knee to go forward and handle the weight. And literally doing front forward lunges with weight is crazy. I recently was able to start sprinting on the treadmill for over, minutes at a time, being able to actually walk. Like it didn't hit me until I was walking through a carnival and I'm like, oh my God, this time last year, I literally could not go to certain parts of this carnival because I couldn't walk that far and I was in a boot. And so many other things that have just been just literally feeling the strength in my knee and just overall feeling better for it. And I think the best part is actually seeing the results of the training that I've now been able to do, seeing the definition in my legs, seeing my knee continue to get stronger, seeing that, even with my seated leg curls, like I was terrified to exceed 50, 60. I was like, nope. And now I'm literally pushing 100, 115, 120. So yeah, so many milestones. I could go on forever, but things I never thought I would have been able to do a year ago. I think with this experience, my favorite part was just really true, and I cannot emphasize this enough, just really genuinely feeling the care from my service provider, like I feel like that really truly does make a difference. And even in just like being the fact that I was already pretty discouraged and kind of hopeless, I think having that care, and not even just the care, but the fact that I'm like vocalizing, like, I don't know about this. And it's like, no, 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 like you got this. And having that, vocal sound of encouragement, which would come in those one on one check ins, right? I think having those would definitely really encourage me. And I'd be able to go back out from that session and be like, okay, when we go tomorrow, like, I'm not going to be scared. I have more capacity than I think I do. And I think it just really makes a difference when you not only have that care, but you feel like you're being rallied on, and like your care provider is actually invested in seeing you grow. Like they want to see you reach the goal. Like you've laid out what you want to do, you've laid out the progression you want, and they are sold on seeing you work towards that journey. I feel like that did it for me, because there were days where I'm like, it's not working. I can't do this. And it's like the encouragement and the belief and just that, just constant sound of positivity as well, I think was my favorite part. I think in terms of what really made this different, that being one perspective, but also I think just the custom care to me versus something printed on a paper. And I think also just like the technology behind it, like actually having a platform where, it's not outside of those check-in meetings, I can say, this is what I felt today with this workout, and being able to also track my progress in there. I feel like that really did make a difference, because in real time, I'm seeing my progression. I'm seeing, oh, okay, last week, like I logged that I could only do 10, and I logged in my notes, like, doing this deadlift, single leg deadlift was very, wearisome. And then I get to kind of see 3 weeks later, it's like, oh, like here's a note I left. And I'm like, oh, wait, that's not a problem anymore. I think that was definitely something that was different, because you don't get that. I mean, most of my appointments, I was doing the same thing. And then I would be given a little printed pamphlet of somebody, and it's like, make sure you find time when you go home to do this, which also was just not really encouraging. And I'll tell you all the truth. If I didn't have to track it in the app, I likely wasn't going to do it. So I think having that accountability also was just like a really, really big help, because know yourselves, and I know myself. If you've resonated to anything, any part of anything I've shared, I definitely am here to encourage you, to let you know that one, you are not alone. There's so many more people who have had experiences like us. And if you're on the fence, like I once upon a time was, I definitely would tell you that this is more than worth the investment. And I think a big key thing here is to recognize that as you're coming into this, the specialist, it's 50-50, right? They can only help what you help. And so you have to be ready for that commitment. And this will be the best commitment that you decide to make for yourself, especially if you're really ready to prioritize your health beyond just the surface level, but ready to take a deeper perspective and a look at how you've lived the last few years and really see yourself go through a transformation. 10 out of 10 recommend what you get, is going to be what you also put in, right? And so I want to let you know that there's hope. And one day you can be like me, squatting and doing front lunges and doing all of these crazy things that I literally never thought I would have been able to do a year and some change ago. So, yeah.